So recently I've been watching some videos about the Canadian military, and I'm going to be watching another one today about a specific soldier, Leo Major. This is called the One-Eyed One-Man Army. That's a great title. I've watched a video about him before, quite a while ago, and yeah, quite an amazing man. I want to watch more, learn more about him. Tell me what you know about him, tell me what you think about him. Let's watch this one.
It's the night of April the 13th, 1945, in Zwolle, in the Netherlands. Canadian soldiers from the Régiment de la Chaudière cautiously approached the city under cover of darkness. Crouching low beside the road, the commanding officer asks for 2 volunteers. For those who dare to step forward, the mission will be one of stealth and courage, not force or fight, or so everyone thinks. Despite reports of significant enemy forces in the area, they'll need to enter the city undetected, scout targets, and relay the information back to artillery batteries gearing up for the impending barrage, and if possible, make contact with Dutch partisans. In the quiet still of the night, 24-year-old, bad-tempered French-Canadian private Leo Major and his friend Corporal Willie Arsenault share a quick glance. Then, nodding, the 2 men accept the challenge and throw themselves to their fate. Major, who from previous battles had already suffered many injuries, including a broken back, the loss of 1 eye, broken ribs, and he'd broken both ankles. Unwilling to be sent home though, he argued that if he had just 1 eye to look into the scope, he was still capable of serving his country.
What an incredible mentality to have. Even just this mission in itself just seems so dangerous, but to have went through everything he's went through, to have the use of 1 eye, to have that mentality, just incredible, man. Unlike anybody I've heard of before.
I was a sniper. I still had 1 good eye, and I could still shoot, he later said. Now weighed down with Sten guns and grenades, the pair scurry into the shadows towards the central square. It's a beautiful old city, and oddly, considering the circumstances, Major regrets that in just a few hours, it and many of its citizens will be reduced to rubble and ash. Arsenault agrees, and the daring Canadians hatch an amazing plan that may just save this historic city and its residents. The army of 2 will capture it, single-handedly. Making their way through the city, they occasionally see German soldiers and officers, but they're harried and preoccupied, and some stumble like they're drunk. The 2 men remain undetected. But as midnight approaches, Arsenault makes a fatal blunder, giving away their position, and pays for it dearly when Germans nearby open fire. The 2 men take cover from the incoming fire and muzzle flashes. Major turns to his friend to figure out a way out of this mess, but with horror, he realizes that Arsenault's body is limp and that he's been fatally hit. That horror soon turns to sadness and then rage. Leo, mad with anger at the loss, struggles to restrain his infamous temper. What happens next is extraordinary. Instead of beating a retreat, he decides to continue the plan alone. He continues to the center of Zwolle, arriving at about 1 o'clock in the morning. The city streets are deserted, but spotting a German machine gun nest, he goes on the attack once more, storming it and eliminating the gun crew. Continuing on his rampage through the streets, he shoots at every target he can until he sees the HQ of the SS. It's a juicy target, and bursting through the door, he's confronted by 8 elite soldiers. Major later said, "They pulled a gun on me. But you know, with 1 eye, I can see better than most people at night. I killed 4 of them. The other 4 ran away."
That is just so badass. The way he's walking out there as well, but everything about this is one situation in his life, and going into this building with all these German soldiers, taking them out, just incredible. I said it on the previous video, I think I definitely need to see a movie of his life. This is actually a very good video, great animation, bringing him to life. Tell me what you think about this. If there was a movie, who do you think could play him?
Ran away.
What a life.
Walking
man.
on, he loses track of time and finds himself on the outskirts. When just a few yards away, he sees a young soldier behind the wheel of a German staff car, parked outside of a tavern. Major jumps the young man and takes him captive without firing a shot. Shoving the young soldier through the tavern door, he calmly disarms a tipsy officer drinking alone at the bar. Major assures him that the war will soon be over and that all of hell is coming, and that Major is part of a large allied force advancing on Zwolle. If this scene looks familiar, we were inspired by...
I was going to say, like, Inglorious Bastards. It's like when they got the that when they're playing that game, they stick the name on the head.
Quentin Tarantino's film Inglourious Bastards. And if you want to find out the real story behind that, then today's sponsor, Magellan TV, has a great documentary called The Real Inglourious Bastards. You can get 1 month for free. So if you are passionate about history and would like to support the channel, then please click the link below and take a look at their outstanding content. Cleverly leaving out the part about being alone, he adds that the lovely city is about to be subjected to an epic bombardment. Not particularly keen on losing his life for a lost cause, the officer finishes his drink and says he's leaving and takes his men with him. The larger force is already long gone. Out of respect, Major returns the man's sidearm and the two part company. To confirm the officer's claims, Leo Major orders his young captive to drive him through the streets, while he shoots wildly and tosses grenades at targets of opportunity. Though his rampage does little damage, he's hell-bent on making a memorable commotion. Then, unable to find any more targets, he sets his captive free, and with his rage finally spent, the man walks dazed through the deserted streets for hours. Then, near collapse, he meets a wary Dutch farmer who takes him to the head of the local resistance. Major and the rest of the resistance men return to the square to alert residents that the city has been liberated. With just one thing left to do, Major and his new companions commandeer a car and return to collect the body of Arsenal.
Whoa.
Sure that the killing and chaos are finally behind them, as the sun rises they carelessly drive towards the Canadian Chaudière, who fire on them, suspecting they're Germans. Furious and exasperated, Major climbs on top of the car, and when his bewildered compatriots recognize him, they lay down their arms. Leo Major reports that the city is nearly free of Germans. With that good news, the artillery bombardment is called off, and the city and its citizens are spared down to Leo Major's actions. For his heroic, if unsanctioned deeds, Major receives the Distinguished Conduct Medal, but ever the rebel, he declines the decoration because he considers General Bernard Montgomery incompetent and in no way worthy of bestowing it upon him. Although many of Major's exploits that night may have been embellished, it seems he killed more than a dozen Germans in multiple engagements. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the
That is incredible.
channel and please watch more.
This video is so good as well. Like, great animation. Go subscribe to this. What's that called? The Yarn Hub. Amazing video. Like, that's so well done. Really captured like his personality, the essence of him, putting him in that environment with so much action going on as well. Like a real life action hero, man. Yeah, it said there maybe embellished, but from what I've heard previously, people in the comments and so on, like, this guy was just a very unique character and unique person, did a lot of unique things as well. So tell me what you know about him as well. Yeah, just incredible. Really saved a full town. Tell me, is there any other individuals that have had such an impact in any conflicts that you know of? If there are, tell me about them. But yeah, Leo Major, what do you think about him? Thanks.